there are so many people that could be extremely successful. I look around and I see potential everywhere. I see people who could be accomplishing really impressive things on a daily basis. They could be growing and impacting people at a blinding speed. But there's something stopping them. And what's stopping them is something that we hear all too often. It's fear. Not fear of something that they've actually experienced, not logical fear, but these people are most fearful of the unknown.
You're listening to the scientific radio of the unknown. One of the most interesting podcasts on the internet.
Okay, so you're not saying that they're stupid. So I don't understand. Are you saying that I'm stupid? Is that it? Is that what you're doing? Tuco. Hey, why don't we all just relax, Isaac versus relax. I'm relaxed. Wait. Get bright.
If you're buried here, turn on.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Scientific Radio of the Unknown. My name is Carson French. You may know me from the TV show Scientific Researchers of the Unknown, and I'm also the creator of this podcast.
I'm Scott Martin, and I am the part-time private editor for this podcast as well.
Hi, I'm Brandon Kalick, and I'm the Vice President of Scientific Researchers of the Unknown.
And today we have a special guest. He's an actor, stuntman, and paranormal researcher, and that's just the beginning. He does a lot more. His name is Jesus Payan Jr.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
Great.
Glad to have you.
So, how are you? How are you doing in these crazy times?
Well, luckily, my normal life is pretty much like being quarantined. I like to be, private and in the forest by myself or with my wife, us hunting, for different things. If it's UFOs, then of course more out in the open. But we're not around a lot of people, so this isn't too different for us. It's just a pain in the butt because if we want to go to the store or whatever. But I just feel bad for all the people that are getting sick and dying. That really sucks. How
Yeah.
about you guys? How are you guys handling it?
Yeah, we're pretty much only able to go to the store and back and go to, doctors as needed if it's necessary.
Yeah, it's really hard for some people, especially, people who have family members working in, medical institutions and places where they can easily be exposed to the virus.
Hmm. Yeah, I had to be sent home from college. Our college shut down. Um, but I'm back home with my family now. I'm doing my best to help out with them and doing work from home now. I have like a computer science job, so I was doing that on my computer anyway. So
Good deal.
yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's just inconvenient.
Yep.
All right. Well, so I understand when you were 4 years old, it was the first time you were abducted by aliens.
Yeah. My sister, she was, going on 6, and under hypnosis when I was about 13 and she was 15. We both remembered that count, but the only difference was she remembered the UFO being green, and I remember it being orange. And about 30 minutes away from us was at the same time in 1980 was the Rendlesham Forest incident happening. We were in England when that happened.
Wow. Um, yeah. So like, how close were you to Rendlesham when this happened?
That's where my dad was working. He was in the Air Force, so
Okay.
depending on
wow.
what day, it was either there, or we are just like I said, 20-30 minutes away.
Interesting. So is there anything else that you remember from the abduction, or do you just like remember that it happened?
That was my first official memory with the abduction phenomenon. I remember the UFO, being in a far distance, and it was a cigar shape, and I remember it getting closer and closer and closer to our window. And when it got to the window, I don't remember anything after that. But the house that we lived in, it was an old 2-story, like the house was over 200 years old, and it was haunted. So I wasn't just dealing
Wow.
with the UFO stuff; we were dealing with ghost stuff. And back in those days, like how old is everybody here right now?
19.
I'm
18.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was 40 years ago. Okay,
Wow.
so back in them days, we had TVs that only had 3 channels, and you had to like go tick, tick, tick just to get to a different channel. And so at nighttime, so it wasn't like today's TVs, they're smart, where possibly there could have been an interference turned on by itself, or somebody's messing with a remote from the window. These ones you have to physically really mess with it to turn it on. In the middle of the night, it would turn on and channels would change. We'd hear footsteps going up and down the stairs. Underneath our staircase was a closet, and in the back wall was wood panels, and you could feel cold air coming through. And it turns out after some research, we found out that was slave tunnels, and there were still bodies inside there. So I'm guessing that's probably what it was, haunting the place.
Did you ever experience like any scratches or any sort of like weird feelings like in your body, sort of, if that makes sense?
For both phenomenons, actually, I've dealt with the scratches. My wife's gotten the 3 scratches on her back, and you know, get the like spidey sense. Whenever some weird stuff's going on, you get the hair. Well, if I had hair over here, I'd feel it raise up on the back of my neck, and yeah, same thing with the UFO stuff. Like if I'll be out, we go hiking, and I go looking for I don't know if you're familiar with mud fossils.
Yeah.
Word. So we go out and do that, and I'll just go in them feelings, and I'll be like, oh, time to take pictures of the sky, and I'll take the pictures, just everywhere. And when I get home, I enhance them, and sure enough, there's usually UFOs in them. So it's
Wow.
it's a question. It's a question of like, am I sensing them, or are they going, "Hey, Jesus, take a picture." You know what I mean? I'm not sure which is which.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. And I understand that in your time in Europe, you also studied Stonehenge and Loch Ness. And I was wondering about that. What are your theories on Stonehenge? What do you think happened there?
Okay, my first issue is um, Stonehenge itself. When you look at the pictures, because I do a lot of conspiracy research,
Hmm.
and I don't believe everything it's at face value. I want to do more research, look into it myself, make sure whatever science is saying or the researchers are saying, there's validity to it. There's something behind it. If somebody's putting forth a theory, I want to test that theory. You know what I mean? So
Right.
when I started seeing images of Stonehenge, and there was a bunch of old images from the 30s, 40s, showing them reconstructing it with cranes and pouring concrete. I was like, huh? I don't remember that, And then
Hmm.
you be look at pictures on Google Earth of Stonehenge. You can look on the back sides of them, and there's big chunks missing, and it looks like a metal box frame inside them.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm like, hold on a second. Nobody ever said that it was metal frames inside, and then the rock on the outside. It was supposed to be these rocks that were transported, hundreds and possibly thousands of miles from where they are now. And there's the theories of there was giants that did it, that Merlin did it, that you know what I mean. The list goes on the different theories. But when today, if you take a look, what the heck is with that? You know what I mean? Why is there those boxes? The metal, it looks like literally somebody made like welded together a metal, steel metal box, and then formed the concrete or pulverized granite and made it look like rock.
Wow.
I don't know. So it's a good question, but definitely it's something to do with the solstice and telling time with our stars.
Yeah. So do you think that maybe Stonehenge now is different than it was maybe like 200, 300 years ago? Do you think it was like manipulated?
Well, what I think is that because it's on a military installation,
Uh-huh.
so our military, love my military people that trying to save our country and everything. Don't get me wrong, I was raised in the military, but our government, they do a lot of shady stuff. So
Hmm.
I question if they put it a certain way so we think something. Maybe it was something else in the beginning, like you said. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Tellinger, that researcher.
No.
If not, look him up. Okay, Michael Tellinger.
Okay.
A lot of these old stone structures are actually magnetrons, and a lot of these old stones are actually quartz, and over the thousands of years have built the patina, of the stone, growing on it. So there's a lot of different things. It could be, for energy, period. And if you look at
Yeah.
a lot of these old sites of ancient places, excuse me, if you look from above, like through, like looking down on it, they actually look like giant circuit boards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, our current, archaeologists, and they're telling us, oh, those are just for worshiping. They were just statues. They were putting columns up because they were pretty. It's like, I don't know anymore. It's turning out that in our past that our ancestors were, it's starting to look like they were way smarter than us, and there was way higher technology, and it's just we've lost a lot of that memory. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think like with the construction of a lot of these like pyramids and Stonehenge, um like how technologically advanced were these civilizations back then, and it's very hard to like know for sure exactly like how advanced they were.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, and then another theory that I had that goes along with that is maybe these like UFOs and stuff that we see, maybe these aliens aren't really extraterrestrial. Maybe they did originate from Earth and they came up with the technology to um, leave our planet and move on throughout the galaxy, and they're just coming back to check on us.
Right. Well, look, we have a lot of people that it's a either or thing. They're either it's aliens or it's angels or it's the Anunnaki from the Sumerian times or
Hmm.
and through my research over these years, what I'm finding is it's the same group, and during each different era of time that we live, we call them a different thing. In the Sumerian times and the beginning, of the Greek, eras, they were called, burning shields. In Egyptian times, also they called them burning shields.
Hmm.
Get a little bit farther in our history, and they, like medieval times, they would call the UFOs fairy lights. They'd call, what we call an alien abduction today. They would describe it as a succubus or an incubus coming, and they'd come and they'd take you and they'd stick needles in you, and they would take your seed and make you give birth to a changeling. Today we have the aliens. They come, pick you up, take you to their their ship, and they stick you with needles and technological contraptions, take your seed, and they're making hybrids. Each
Yeah.
Yeah.
each different era, it's the same thing going on, but we're calling it a different thing. In the days of Noah and the biblical days, those were called demons. They were called, the Nephilim. And, there's more and more pointing to the reality, even though a lot of people don't want to believe in the Bible or believe in God and all that stuff. They're like, nah, that's just for kooky bastards. It's like, get rid of all the in the religion part, get it out of there and look at it as just a history book. What
Right.
in that book can we test? What is being found today that correlates with that? You know,
Right.
I get a lot of flack from because of my views on NASA right now. But I love science. I love science. But my issue is true science is something you can test repeatedly and get the same results over and over, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I used to be all for what's going on with NASA and the ISS and the space landings and all that stuff. I used to enhance images of the Mars rover and do all kinds of really cool stuff. But certain things started not making sense to me once I learned more and more. The more I learned, the less I knew. You guys are familiar with the Van Allen radiation belts,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Just talking
Yes.
about that
yeah,
earlier.
we were just talking about that before the podcast, actually.
Tell,
Mhm.
tell me what were you guys discussing? I'd love to hear
Okay,
it.
well, I mentioned a theory that I believe were like, since we haven't been, to space or to, the moon or to Mars at all,
Yeah.
I believe that the theory is that, the heat from the temperature of that layer is so hot that anything that goes through it will literally burn. And my
Hmm.
question is why haven't we been to the moon since 1969, if I'm correct?
Yes.
And that's kind of just my theory on it, is that there's a layer that's, it will just burn anything that goes through it. Or my question
Right.
is this world an actual dome that we're living in? So,
Okay. So let me speak on those two things you just said. All right. You're correct on the first part. One, the Van Allen radiation belt is supposed to be so volatile, so radioactive that if you were to go through it, yeah, you'd pop like popcorn. Boom. You
Mhm.
know, and for the space for the astronauts to have passed through it 14 times, 7 trips,
Yeah.
back and forth with no protection in a thin aluminum tin can. Do
Mhm.
you did you guys see the news press conference when they asked Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong about that?
I saw one of the confronting
I didn't see
videos of
that.
it, but I didn't see the interview.
Okay, so they're sitting there at the table, right? And somebody in the press, the press, they're like, "Hey, man, how did you guys get back and forth so many times without any problems?" And Neil Armstrong and Buzz were just like, "Well, you see, we hadn't discovered the Van Allen radiation belt yet, so we didn't have to prepare for it."
Mm-hmm.
That's not how things work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's that's kind of silly. It's like me saying, "Go ahead."
Yeah, if you're a scientist and you're starting space, you shouldn't be able to just be like, oh, I'm gonna just completely wing it, because that's how accidents happen.
Yeah, you don't send the human before the chimp, and that's what they did back then. So that's why they don't do it now.
The second problem is, you're getting NASA saying now, oh, we don't have the technology anymore to get to the moon, right? And that it's very difficult. We destroyed all that technology, and it's like the technology you had to get to the moon in '69 was you had less memory than a phone that we have today. Okay, less memory, and the lander was ghetto. If you get online, download the images of the lander, the high definition, and zoom in, and you'll see that it's got waffle board, it's got scotch tape on it.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell you gonna get through anything with that, right? And then
exactly. With all the cold air in the outer space too.
Yeah.
Then like the planet environment, it doesn't make sense. These things don't add up together.
Yeah. Second problem. If you're familiar with the vacuum, any vacuum, a true vacuum, they're saying that the space is a true vacuum, right?
Right.
One, in a vacuum, there's a few problems that we have. It looks like NASA, they just said, hey, the people are stupid. They're not going to really test these things. We're rocket scientists, So in a true vacuum, any liquid boils.
Right.
That is a good point.
What are humans made of?
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they tried training an astronaut one time in a real vacuum chamber. And as soon as they turned that vacuum on, all his blood and his saliva started boiling, and they almost killed him. So they never did that again. Okay. 2, in a true vacuum, there's nothing to push off of. So you could have a fan blade going all you want and nothing blowing because it's a vacuum. So all the images of them going moving around, what are they blowing against? You can't blow against crap. And inside a vacuum, you can't have explosions, so you can't ignite oxygen to propel you for any type of fire to push you. So those are a couple problems that I have with that. 2, they're already talking about for the Orion project that they want to go to Mars already. It's like you can't even get to the damn moon, and you're trying to sell tickets to Mars.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And now let's jump to the dome thing. Okay, if you guys haven't seen it, watch this documentary. It's called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon." Okay. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. They won't air it here in America. It's only in Britain that they'll show it, because it kind of ruins a lot of things for the astronauts, because they got caught messing up, faking some stuff on film. Like, okay, so the dome thing. Once again, let's go back to NASA. All right. You ever heard of a guy named Matthew Powerland?
Yes, I know.
Familiar, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Matthew, I'm friends with him. I know him. Mm-hmm. And he is a hyper-realistic artist. Okay. You've seen on Instagram and, all these different, Facebook, where people can actually paint. It looks like a damn photo, They're amazing artists. I'm an artist, but I can't do that well. That's like, holy crap, some of the stuff they can do. So he found out that while he was working for NASA doing these paintings, that they were putting his paintings as Hubble telescope images in the magazine, saying it was Hubble telescope images. Okay. And he was like, whoa, hold on a second. Nuh-uh. And they would come to him and say, oh, well, our radio telescope information tells us this part of space has a pink gaseous cloud. And this part of space, you know what I mean? And he would paint it and make it look hyper realistic. Okay. Also, there's images of Saturn, all right, and Jupiter they're the exact same image. They've just been photoshopped slightly different contrasting, and they added the blue aurora on top. Same image. When it's a gaseous planet and it's supposed to be changing, and it changes, it was exact duplicate. They got lazy. Another issue is, do you remember when they recently had, excuse me, the moon passed by the Earth they said it was from a satellite, a million miles out, and you can see the backside of the moon pass by Earth like this.
Yeah.
Right? It was a big deal. It was supposed to be over, just that section was 12 hours. Watch that GIF, or GIF, whatever you want to call it. The clouds on Earth don't move in 12 hours.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay, two. Now, if you're an artist and you understand perception and the way, if the moon, or the Earth's right here, and you got the moon going, you see how my finger gets smaller and then bigger? On that, the moon don't get smaller or bigger. Just stays the same size. It goes, you know?
Right.
Now, imagine if you get that picture, zoom in on the moon, the top of the moon when it's in front of the Earth, okay? You zoom in until the moon is flat, all right? Just that little section, because you're zoomed in so far. The background's all Earth. But when they went to the moon, supposedly, and they took pictures of the Earthrise, the Earth's this big, little tiny Earth. The person that photoshopped that image forgot about perception and exactly how big the moon is to the Earth. They went and photoshopped it how we see the moon from the Earth, because the moon's smaller. So they screwed up there too. They're real sloppy, but the majority of people don't even try to question it, because they're like, they're scientists and they're rocket scientists and NASA. Don't question it, you know? Okay, to the dome. All right. So NASA, they give an actual equation, right, for the curvature of Earth. Follow that equation, get yourself a telescope, and it don't work. We're able to see things that are way farther than we should be able to. You know, a ship disappearing in the distance, you know, just get a good camera, zoom in, it'll reappear. Wait till it disappears again. Bust out a telescope. Look in your telescope, and it comes back. You can see the waves at the bottom of the ship. Okay? It's the way the human eye works. If you go into a hotel, go into a hallway, and they have light all the way down the little tiny, hallway. It's obvious at the end of the hallway, it's not this big. No, that's the way our eyes perceive it. The lights are all just different, going down. All right. So when you think about it that way, yes, people will believe that it goes over, the curve. But that's because we've been told that. And we just accept that in our mind, just, okay, that's what's happening. Once you realize how perception really works and is perceived by the human eye, that all changes. When you send a balloon up to the, to the stratosphere, and you don't put a fisheye lens on the camera, it's still flat. It's still straight across, With the dome thing in the Bible, it describes the dome as being see-through, but like as hard as metal, Why is it when NASA takes off in their shuttles and you put a slow time aperture on it and it's a time lapse, so it's really, it picks up every bit of light. We see it just go all the way up, and then we can't see it anymore. That's our eyes. But a camera can see it go all the way, and then it turns, and then it goes like this, and then it goes like that, and then it goes down. Hold on a second. Isn't it supposed to go that way? And just continue to go up, not go, That's a problem. Another issue is, if we can't get to the moon now, and they admit now that they've only been to a low Earth orbit, okay, all the images of Earth are painted or Photoshopped. We have no real images of Earth. And that documentary I just told you about, it shows them faking the Earth through a little porthole in their ship. For me, that tells me I need to re-question every single possible thing that they've said since NASA was formed. Since
Right.
our scientists have said it's a heliocentric universe. Why did all of a sudden 200 years ago, 400 years ago, did they go on a worldwide spree of just erasing everybody's history?
Mm-hmm.
And then coming up with, even though, all these different, different, peoples and ancient groups that had technology were finding out, they knew how the earth looked. They knew what it was. They knew there was a dome, And
Yeah.
if you're looking at the movies, like with the Illuminati stuff, and how the movies always tell you what's going, the truth in hidden backgrounds, it keeps on saying the same thing. Why does the UN, the United Nations, have a flat Earth map as their
Yeah.
logo?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Why is it a sea captain uses the flat Earth map? If he doesn't and he uses the round one, it throws him off course. If we're on the Earth and it's spinning at 1,200 miles per hour, why can't I get in a helicopter, go up about 50 feet, sit there for 24 hours, and watch the Earth go under me and land in the same place? You don't.
Right.
Don't move. It's never been measured, the Earth moving, besides when it have earthquake.
Right. I have a question for you. Have you seen the documentary Behind the Curve?
I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, we actually had Mark Sargent on our podcast a few months ago. And he was saying that the editors of the film did a lot of like tricks to make him look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But he said that overall the movie like helped him in his cause because it made a lot of people like start questioning it, like a lot of like regular people who weren't like researching flat Earth, they were just like
Right.
watching Netflix.
Well, like what I did was at first, for a while, a long time, I thought I was like, oh, flat Earth, that's stupid. People that believe in the flat Earth, they're all just dummies and don't know science. They're just hoopty.
It's all popular perception,
Oh,
It's, yeah.
So I set out to prove it wrong. I was like, I'm gonna prove it wrong because we got pictures of Earth. We got this. We got that. And then I found out, no, we don't. We ain't got all that. We thought we did, but in reality, like I said before at another interview, is that what I'm finding out is that our reality is really fantasy, and our fantasy is reality. Myths actually are history, and our history are myths. You know what I mean? Everything's backwards. What's up is down. What's down is up.
Right.
People are like, Bigfoot's not real. I'm like, well, you believe that all you want, but I've seen them in person. 5 feet away from me. I've had them look at my tents. It's just, people believe, just like how the astronaut said, well, we hadn't discovered it, so it don't exist. So that's not how things work. If you don't believe in a gun and I have one and it's loaded and I shoot you, you cannot believe all you want. It's going to kill you either way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it really just gets really annoying to me when you get people, once I've researched something seriously and I've tested it over and over, or I've seen it or took pictures of it, it's real. They're like, well, I still don't believe it, so it's not real. It's like, then why are you wasting our time? Let us move forward with our research.
So while we're on the topic of space, I actually thought of a question that I had discussed in one of my own podcasts, but I wanted to know what's your theory on Solar Warden for a possible space fleet, if you're familiar with that.
With space fleets?
Well, the actual program is called Solar Warden, and it was actually designed in the 1980s.
For our military?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know your opinion on it.
Well, I believe they do have the technology for these spaceships, but I still don't think they can leave. I still think they're stuck within the dome. But we got to realize just how large this dome is. So, because there is a lot of. I've seen the fleets. I've seen lots of different kinds of fleets, and we have them coming in and out, but only a certain group are allowed in and out of the dome, which I have a good idea of who they are. But Yeah, they're still trying to set it up where it's just like ancient Babylon when they tried to, get to the dome and crack it and get through it without permission. They're trying to do that still, and they're trying to perpetuate the war, a great war, so they can get through and try
So
to get to that realm.
so by chance, so you said that you've seen them yourself. So would you still be able to envision exactly what they looked like?
Well, I haven't seen them like 4 feet away from me. I've seen them in the sky, passing over, and the ones that I see constantly coming like from the military range where I live by are oval shaped. They have the different. You got to remember the different ships they have. They have scout ships. They've got destroyers. And you've got the motherships. They've got all that stuff. Do you remember the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
I
Yes.
never watched it,
Steven
but I will.
Spielberg.
Spielberg
If you
says.
get a chance, watch it. Okay, it's actually historical because it actually happened in the 1950s here in New Mexico on the White Sands
Oh,
Missile Range.
Roswell. Yeah.
Oh no, Roswell happened in 47. Okay,
Yeah. This is
that was the crash.
later than Roswell. Okay.
So it's about close to 5, 6 years later, they had a prearranged landing on the missile range. So they showed up. We met with them. We talked to them. We made deals. We switched some of our people for their people in exchange for technology, and gave them permission to abduct a certain amount of Americans and animals every year. And they had to promise to provide us with the names, which they broke the treaty because they didn't care and we're a joke. And they just threw us a little baby bit of technology that we were like, wow, it's amazing. We're going to rule the world. Not realizing, we're nothing compared to these creatures, that we're dealing with. And I personally, I believe that they're not aliens. What we're dealing with is the same individuals that were cast down here a long time ago. There's no reason saying they can't have technology just because people are like, but angels have wings and demons are monsters. It's like, hey man, they had technology back then. They're what we call their magic is just really advanced technology. They have messed their DNA so much that they have super strength, live forever. We're working towards all that stuff ourselves right now. We can call them demons, we can call them angels, we can call them aliens, Bigfoots, whatever. But if you really research it, it's all there. All the answers are there in these old books, but they're keeping calling it make believe and myth. And the elite knows it's real. That's what's messed up. The CIA, the head of the CIA said in the 60s that the day that America believes everything that's not true, their job is done. When we believe everything that we believe is not true and the opposite, they succeeded. They won, and we're pretty much there now.
Right. So, what do you think the reasoning behind the government keeping this all a secret would be? Like, why don't they think that average, like, everyday people, like the majority of the population, why do they want to keep it a secret?
One, power. Okay. Two, they've backed themselves in the corner with so many lies and horrible, disgusting things they've done to us humans, to the people, that there's no turning back. If we found out, if the people found out, it wasn't an issue of, oh, we can't handle it, the truth. No, we can handle it. Our problem is we would be pissed. We would get rid of them. We would kill them all. We would be like, you guys need to go to either jail or the electric chair, one or two forever. And they don't want that. They know that we are more special than we understand. We are not insignificant little specks of dust in a vast universe. We actually are something quite incredible, and they know that, and they're using that to their advantage. These beings that are that they've made deals with, which it's like making deals with the devil and demons. These creatures feed off our energy. So when you've got the elite, trying to do these deals and drink blood and adrenochrome, and using us in that aspect for just to stay younger, to get high, and then of course to have us all working for them so they could get ready for what's coming. And they, all the bases, underground bases they've built, thinking they're going to just hide when the shit goes down. Excuse my language. these creatures are also feeding off our energy, just like you see in the Matrix, right?
Right.
Okay, so when Morpheus is telling Neo, he's like, you got to understand these beings, these machines, which they replaced the machines with these creatures that we're dealing with, these demons and other beings in the other dimension that they're stuck there. They're using we're batteries to them, and the more energy we produce a certain type, the stronger they get. So that's why, like, you'll have a war when the World Trade Center tower came down. The whole world emitted an energy of anguish, of pain, of sorrow, and that fed the crap out of those things, And same, every war that we've had has been a false flag, and it's in order to kill a whole bunch of people to feed this energy, okay, to hide a whole bunch of history at the same time and destroy a bunch of history. And it just goes on, man. So a lot of us have no idea just how deep the rabbit hole goes and how ridiculous it sounds, because it just sounds more and more like The Hobbit, the Matrix, and all these things. In our reality, it's like the Matrix. When Morpheus took Neo to train, he was out to explain the difference between reality, real reality, and what we're really going through. And like to jump off topic a little bit, but it has to do with the dome. Think about this, guys. All right. So say we're under a dome. Okay, let me use this. I think this is an appropriate thing to show. Say this is the dome, right? And you have this is our dome, and above the dome is what? Water. I think it's water. Okay. So we have the waters above, and then inside the dome is the waters below. In here, right? Our oceans.
Okay.
So if we have water here, and you got to think the water is eventually going to stop, but also the water's on the sides here. It goes down on the sides. That's just how water works, So what if we're actually at the bottom of an ocean, a giant ocean? Okay, what if heaven above? Because if you look at just the descriptions of all the different ancient cultures, that's what they're saying. The water's up here, and above the water is the heavens.
Okay.
I do have a question evolving around that topic, actually.
Okay.
So within like our oceans, for example, I was wondering if do you believe in advanced underwater life similar to us?
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of underwater bases, not just our current people, us, but ancient cultures that are still under there, especially in Antarctica.
Yeah. My question about your theory of us being at the bottom of an ocean is, what then would the sun, moon, and stars what would the sun, moon, and stars be then? Would they still be the same since they're surrounded in water, or would they be a projection or an illusion?
Could you repeat that? It froze for about 30 seconds.
Oh, sorry. I was asking a question about your theory of us being in a dome at the bottom of an ocean. And so would that mean that the stars, the sun, and the moon, would those all be an illusion, or would they still be a part of it?
Okay, so imagine the the yin yang symbol, the Chinese yin yang symbol. You have the white and the black, and they go like that. Well, that's a representation of our moon and our sun. So they're going like this inside that dome. Okay. Above us.
So is the sun and the moon and the stars inside of the dome?
Yeah, I think the stars are actually part of the dome. Okay. The moon and the sun are below the dome, and they're the same size too. The moon and the sun are the same size. Just one is moving slightly faster than the other, and that's when you get the solar eclipses. Okay. When the way they work is the sun does a spiral, and closer and closer and closer into the middle of our mass of the flat Earth map. Okay, so when the sun's really close to the middle, you get the 4 months of daytime in Alaska. All right, when the sun is all the way out into the rest of the part of the year, that goes back out because it goes in and out, in and out. That's when you got the 6 months of pure night in Alaska because the sunlight doesn't reach it. Okay? So the same thing with the moon, they pass each other like this, they're chasing each other. But of course, through our perception, the way our eyes see, when the moon, the sun's not setting, it's just going away. It looks like it's setting, but it's really the same height at all times. It just looks different as it goes farther away. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then the stars are set on a perpetual. We got the North Star, and it's just spinning. It's like a giant terrarium, or planetarium situation. You know, the reason why, like, have you guys done any of the research on the Sumerians?
I have a little bit.
Okay,
I've done a little bit as well.
Not so much for me.
No, well, if you get a chance, and if you like to read, look up the Earth Chronicles, okay, by Zacharias Sitchin. All right. In the Epic of Gilgamesh as well, you have these beings that came down and started mining. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you've seen on History Channel how they have the gold miners, the gold mining. They do gold mining in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that. So these beings came down to mine, and this is what the Sumerians say. And they got kind of tired of mining. They were all by themselves in this place that's very, very far away from their home. And they decided to create a creature, all right, to do the mining for them. All right. So while they're down there, they're terraforming whatever is inside that dome. And it would make sense if you're at the bottom of an ocean, you're going to have this dome set up, and all the pressure of the bazillions and billions and trillions of cubic pounds of pressure from this water is going to hold that dome down real well. Make it really hard to get out. You know, you have to have a special, device to get through it. So they are mining this area, which if you watch this, here's another documentary. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but you should check it out. It's called "There Are No Forests on Planet Earth."
Okay.
Okay. And watch the one that says English dubbed version. Very important. Okay. So what that documentary is showing us is that almost all of Earth has been mined. Okay. The parts that have been mined, that's where we got valleys and the Grand Canyon. A whole bunch of our mesas around the world are former cut down trees, giant cut down trees.
Wow.
Our volcanoes are actually the debris and waste from all the mining, and the nuclear waste, and it's inside there in the middle. After so many years of pressure, they explode, magma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then you got the giants. At some point in our history, something happened and everybody turned to stone. You know, and we had humongous giants. I mean, we're finding that with the mud fossils that we're finding body parts that like hair follicles that look like tree stumps to us. That's how huge. We're finding these stone, remnants of giant creatures that they've actually done DNA research on, and they're coming back human. So the Bible talks about these titans, the times of the Nephilims that were having the children that, was destroying the earth because they were terraforming. They were using up all the natural resources, which coincides with all this other history. So if you have all this going on, and then there's a great flood, the suggestion is, the Milky Way, right?
Right.
Yep.
That's actually the part of the dome that was cracked open that let all the waters down on us. And
Okay.
the repair of that is what we see that looks all milky and not all perfectly clear no more. But of course, if you got NASA telling us, oh, that's a galaxy far, far, far away, and we're going to Mars, and here's a picture of Earth that we drew. Here's a picture of Mars that we found out is not really red, because one of their surveyors, the little surveyor guys, they have a American flag on the surveyor. If you look at any of their pictures that are red, the American flag, the part that's blue with the stars, is purple. Once you adjust that back to blue, the sky goes back to blue. The rocks turn back to brown with moss and stuff like that. So, as much as I want to believe that all that stuff's true, I gotta question it. I gotta question it because there's been so much deceit. Why would they lie? The ISS, it's been there for 28 years in the atmosphere at that level, where it's between 600 and 3,000 degrees at all times. They don't have special metal up there protecting them. They don't have special wires that are coated in special plastic. All that would just melt and catch on fire quick. You know what I mean? Yeah. How's it been sitting in that hot of a degree with no air conditioner? They don't have an air conditioner up there. You know that? They have a air renewing system, they say, But then again, they had an astronaut almost drown on a spacewalk. There's a bunch of video you can find of water bubbles on their spacewalks. Water bubbles.
Huh.
So my advice for you guys are young scientists and researchers, is question everything.
Right.
Don't take anything at face value. Do the research. If they put forth a theory, test it. If they put forth an equation, equate it and see if it makes sense at all, if it's true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good approach. Yeah. I have a question also for you, Jesus. So it is said on your profile that UFO sightings and abduction experiences have continued at an alarming rate ever since your original incident when you were a 4-year-old in the year 1980. So could you elaborate on the alarming rate aspect of that statement?
Well, why I say alarming is because one, if you research abductees or you've heard of the movie Fire in the Sky with Travis Walton?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a one-time deal. A lot of abductees, they go through it once, twice, or 3 times. It's not a constant thing. It had never stopped with me. And as I went through time, growing up, and it continued, and it didn't just happen to me. If I was living with somebody or around somebody a whole bunch, they'd get to experience too. It's come out in newspapers and all kinds of what's happened to me. For my research, a lot of abductions, they slow down as they get older and stop. A lot of them stop by the time they hit 30. The majority of their experiences, are when they're younger or teenagers. Mine hasn't stopped. And the same thing with the spirits. Seeing spirits, experiencing the strange and unknown, it's just gotten crazier and crazier and crazier for me. The last time that I took a picture of a UFO, Adrian, how long ago did we take that picture? I was standing on the hill. 5 days ago. Last picture of a UFO disc. Just 5 days ago, man.
Wow.
I see a UFO every week. Not hard for me. I don't even try to. Every time, usually I'd say about 75 to 80% of the time I go out Bigfoot hunting, I'm not Bigfoot hunting. I'm just out there walking around looking for their structures, just doing the thing, taking pictures. And when I get back home, I zoom in to look around, and they were there. Or I heard them knocking. Or one of my first documentary I had made, Bigfoot hunting, I got Bigfoot talking, same bush. You know what I mean? Whistling to me back and forth. There was 4 of them.
So it's like some adaptation that's following you, sort of.
Yeah. That's what I think. I think it has to do with my bloodline, the type of blood I have. Do you guys know your blood type?
No.
I believe I'm. Actually, I forgot. Honest, I think I'm A. I don't know.
Do you think that they're possibly sending you a message, which is why they're in those pictures constantly, but you're not seeing them visually, or are you seeing them visually and in the pictures?
Both. I've had both instances. Um, if we are going to theorize, I'm theorizing, of course, because I don't know everything. I'm just putting forth my research and what it points to. You know, I could be completely wrong, you know, and 2 + 2 is 3, you know, but there is something going on. I believe, you know, I believe in God, Jesus Christ. And, you know, I've researched the heck out of both. I used to help work with the Shroud of Turin exhibit, you know, the cloth that covered Jesus. And, you know, I've had my experiences with Christ, and you know, I've had healings and stuff that call it mind over matter. But I was in a church and I asked Jesus to heal my ankles. I couldn't walk, and I could walk that same morning. You know what I mean? The doctor said that I had torn all my ligaments.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
and that's the same thing with the UFOs and angels and demons. I think that's who's flying the UFOs, angels and demons. Some are good, some are bad. So that's why some abductions are violent and like being raped, you know, and then the other ones are kind. They're teaching you things, telling you not to hurt people, you know, and so forth and so on. Um, it's so hard to deal with these things when you got people that don't think it's possible. It's beyond their realm of understanding, you know, because they think that if you believe in God or Jesus, then you're just a hallelujah. And, you know, a lot of people that believe in God just don't think UFOs can exist. They think everything's demons, or they think everything's angels, or it can't be either or. It's a little bit of everything in one. Now, if you understand what Bigfoots are, okay, Bigfoots in the ancient Sumerian story, they're saying the Bigfoots are the first group of humans that were created by the Nephilim and the angels.
Okay.
I actually had two questions going about Bigfoot as well. So,
Okay.
one being from I watched the Vimeo reel that was posted,
Okay.
and so towards the end, the camera got kind of shaky, and one of you guys said, "Oh my God," kind of like in like a freaking out way, and then I saw the camera kind of drop. But what was like the experience that you guys felt like after? Like, did you see something, or was it something that you felt?
What in which video?
In the Vimeo video reel of the Bigfoot hunting.
Oh, okay. So the noise that you hear at the very end is my friend Michael, the guy with the beard. Okay. We were out there, and we had, you know, a production crew with us. The production crew, they were, they didn't really believe that there was something there, but I that's where I've had a really huge experience there, not by myself. And we had a Bigfoot throw a rock at one of the researchers and hit him almost in the square in the family jewels. It was pretty funny, but you know, I know for a fact that they're out there. And that night we had two of them that were kind of like circling our location. And there's a river. There was the San Juan River right there, and there was a whole flock of geese that were just quietly sitting on the river, floating, bloop, bloop, bloop. And something behind them on the other side of the river in the trees, like growled and scared the living crap out of the geese, which they all went "Wah, wah, wah," and flew and scared the crap out of my friend Michael. And he's like, ah, and that's the part that you heard, yeah, you know,
Okay.
Wow.
yeah.
And then also in that video that I think you took on your phone or something like that, that footage was impressive. Like, believe me, like when I saw that, I was shook myself. I was like, dude, no way. Because like you said towards the, I think it was you, I might be wrong, but you said they are everywhere. So
Yeah.
does that mean, so I have kind of like a foresty lake in my area called Folsom Lake. You're probably maybe familiar or not, but Folsom Lake, they're kind of foresty.
Okay.
So I
And
was
what,
wondering if maybe
what
if I were to go out there, I would be able to see some sightings.
well, okay, so check this out. So if there's any type of good sized forest in your state, and it's a national park or whatever, more than likely you've got some kind of Bigfoots. What you do is go into your library or on the internet, of course, and look up any instances of um, mountains being called Devil's Mountain, or there's stories of witches on a mountain, or a lot of disappearances. Um, like in the South they call it the booger monster, okay, which we get the story of the boogeyman. All these different places call them different things. A lot of people don't believe in Bigfoot, so they say they got werewolves. A lot of them don't believe in werewolves, so they got this crazy witch they can hear screaming at night that will take kids. The kids go by themselves into the mountains, or campers don't return. So what I recommend is go in your forest, look for the structures. Don't look for a Bigfoot. Look for the structures, because once you find the structures, the Bigfoot's already found you.
Right. In part of our TV show, we did an episode where we were investigating the forests around Lake Tahoe in the Sierra Nevada mountain range.
Oh, nice.
And we found it looked like a net. It looked like a nest. It was like a bunch of dead grass like piled. It looked basically exactly like a nest, and it was kind of like in this area that was like under a tree, but the ground was like almost dug into a hole, so it made kind of like a little like pocket area.
Like a den.
Yeah. And there was nothing in there, but it definitely it didn't look man-made either. I mean, it could have been, but I don't know why somebody would do that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if that's the type of structures that you see, or have been reported.
That's one of them. So
Okay.
if you see something like that, one, go online and compare that with gorilla nests. Okay. All right. So you'll have these creatures, these humans, these great apes, whatever you want to call them. They do share a lot of the same social aspects of our great apes in the jungles, like with the gorillas. So there's a lot of things that they do that are the same with the sticks, and they do the twisting of trees. You'll have saplings at the 8-foot mark are always broken off at the top. You'll have X's, lots of big X's set up places. If you see trees leaning over on another tree, that's their way of telling each other which way to go. So follow those. If you see one and you see another one, follow it, and it'll take you to more complex structures. Okay, if you see the X's, don't go behind those X's, because those are usually either where they have their kids or they're hunting. You don't want to be where they're hunting. Okay?
As in X's, do you mean X's with like trees or sticks?
Sticks, trees. They like for the serious areas you don't want to be. They'll use full-on giant trees. Just you'll see just a big ass X. You know what I mean? You'll see areas where you'll see like hashtags. They'll literally make hashtags or the star asterisks. You know what I mean? Right? The reason why they'll do the hashtag ones is because they'll stand behind them. They're really smart. The human mind, when you see a person's shape or their silhouette, our eyes and our mind automatically tells us that's a person, right? Now, they're so smart and they know how our heads work. Stand behind something that breaks that shape of yours into something else. Doesn't recognize it. They could be standing 15 feet right in front of you, but you walk right past them because our brain didn't recognize that's a person or a thing behind it. It's been broken up in little pieces, So when you're out there and you go to your forest, don't tracks or anything, look for the sticks. Look for tree bends. They like bending tree. It looks like a snare has been set up. Okay, look for the X's. Look for the tree leans. When you see those, that's where they're at. And that's how they talk to each other, because they ain't got cell phones. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jesus, I have a question about like how you see Bigfoot in terms of like their roles with like like with like let's say like the United States, like Forest Service, and then these other organizations committed to like preserving the forest and to dealing with the deforestation and these things. But also, like, do you see them playing the same role as like NASA in terms of the conspiracy theory of aliens? Do you see them playing the same role with Bigfoot?
Okay. So the problem with our military and NASA and all that with Bigfoots is because they're greedy, they just want to worry about money and war. Okay. You've heard of super soldiers?
Yeah.
Okay. So bodies have been recovered of Bigfoots, you know? They don't want to get in and say, hey, everybody, Bigfoot's real. And all this history that we said is not real. Ha ha ha, it's real. So, one, that's one reason why they hide it. Two, they're trying to create their own version of a super soldier using these creatures because they're so strong, they can survive any weather, etc. If we were not in this situation with all these nefarious and evil bastards, in our government, then yeah, the Bigfoots are there to take care of the land and the forest. They're the kings of the forest. Then you got some of these, like, how we have doctors, we have hypnotherapists, we have magicians, right?
Right.
Illusionists. So if they have their own special individuals too. They have their shamans, their holy men. Some of them can disappear. Some can flip in and out of a dimension. Some of them can use the mind speak. They all can use infrasound. Are you familiar with infrasound?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they do that. That's what strikes fear in people, makes them freeze. There's been there's been Bigfoot seen on UFOs. There's correlation. This is fun. Trip out on this. You know how they say that there's no bodies have been found, right? But if you look up, okay, in the 1800s, 1700s, and early 1900s, they say they find these giant Indians mounds throughout the forest. These giant Indian mounds, and they dig them up, and they're Indians that are 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall. Okay, you go online, go to Google Images, and type in a giant skeletons found sighting map. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Screenshot that. Then you look up Bigfoot sighting map. Okay, location map for United States. Screenshot that. Then look up UFO sighting map of the United States. And if you got a clear overlay and put them all over each other, they match up just perfect.
Wow.
But you got these different factions. You got the Bigfoot guys that are UFOs are stupid. You got the UFO guys. Bigfoot's just a stupid, dumb monkey that don't exist. People take pictures of with potatoes, And then you got the giant people that believe in giants. They're like, no, they're not Bigfoot. They're giant people, not realizing that they're all right.
Right.
Do
you think like spirits and ghosts and demons and all that are part of the same category too?
I think they exist. Yeah, definitely. They're part of all this. That's like I said. That's the problem. Is everybody just wants to believe one section, and they don't understand that they all have a part of the puzzle. And a demon. A lot of people don't even know what the hell demons are. You'll get people like, I don't believe in God. Do you believe in a demon? Oh, heck yeah, man. It's like, man, a demon is an angel that's been killed. Okay, a fallen angel. No one else can be a demon. That's why when you see the exorcisms, the priest is like, what is your name, demon? What is your name? Because there's only a specific amount of fallen angels that had fallen down to earth, that was cast down. And the ones that were, those became demons. The giants that were, they all had specific names. So these priests, that's why they ask, what's your name? So they can know exactly how to deal with that specific demon. You know what I mean? So then you got, so they all ties together. There's so much that's been hidden from us. Have any three of you read the book of Enoch?
I've read some of it. I haven't read the whole thing.
Not even heard of it till now.
Okay, so what's way easier is if you just type in YouTube audiobook of the book of Enoch. Just get the audio. You ain't got to read the damn book. Kick back when you're laying down for bed. Pop it on. Start listening to it. That is a part of the Bible that was taken out.
Right.
They didn't want you to hear because it talks about the giants and all the other stuff that they don't agree with. That they're like, oh, we don't want people knowing all that. Okay. Then there's also the Book of Giants, audio book. Listen to that. There's a whole bunch of different things that they pulled out the Bible that we're supposed to know. But the powers that be, they know that if they hide that information for themselves, they get to rule us. They get to get us to believe certain things to help them out, regardless of what it does to us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
See, a big thing with the God thing is like right now with the coronavirus and COVID-19, whatever it is, you got a whole bunch of people saying, oh, look at all the churches are closing. Where's God now? That's why we know God doesn't exist. It's just science. It helps people. You know, why is it? Look, if you read the damn book, it tells you that God gave us free will, right? Free will means that we get to do whatever we choose, and that's the test. If you want to be crappy, evil people, well, I believe we're going to pay for that one way or another after we die, okay? Because I've experienced way too much supernatural shit for it to be not real, all right? I've seen demons. I've dealt with demons. I've dealt with evil spirits. That stuff's real. And if that stuff's real, that means that after we die, there's an afterlife of some sort, okay? All that God's job is, or Jesus, whichever you want to call him, or Yahweh, or whatever, the only job they have is after we die. If you qualify, you know, say like your heavenly credit score is good enough, all they got to do is be there to catch your soul and take you with them. Their job is not to fix everything. Their job is not to hold our hands along the way of life. We're on earth this long. If we can't handle our shit for this little short time of time on earth, you know what I'm saying? Why would they want to help us? You know what I mean? They're obviously intelligent beings, you know, and the whole purpose of life and what was given to us was not so that they could do it for us. Life sucks. Life can be hard. Life can suck really bad. Murders happen, rapes happen, molestations. You know, the list goes on and on. It's not because they think it's okay for it to happen, but it's kind of like if you're trying to get into Harvard, you got to take a test, right? Harvard ain't going to just let anybody in their damn club, and they're not going to feel sorry for you if you don't study hard enough.
Right.
That's you're not going to get in, and that's the whole purpose of free will, you know. So my deal is, say I'm wrong. There's no heaven. There's no God. There's none of that. I'm still going to live my life to be a good man. I don't want to do evil. I'm a minister. You know, I've been a minister for over a decade now. You know, it doesn't mean I have to be all corny. Doesn't mean I have to, you know, be and all that crap. You know what I mean? No, my job is to help people, to educate people the best I can, without deceit, without deceiving. Help who I can when I can, and to try to follow them rules. It's just 10 basic rules we were given. The 10 commandments. You know, don't steal, don't cheat on your brother's, you know, with your brother's wife. You know, don't lie. Don't, you know, they're real basic common sense rules. You know what I mean? And if we can't follow those, maybe you don't deserve to go wherever there is better place. Say, out of that dome, through the water, the holy water, into heaven, where there's a big giant party going on like spring break, 24/7. I don't know. You know, but from what I hear, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? If not, at least while I was here, I led a good example for the people that come after me, to hopefully, you know, create a better life for the rest of the people out there, you know. Right. But like I said, I was a bodyguard and a bouncer for over 20 years. I worked in strip clubs and regular clubs, and I was, you know, was gonna fight Suge Knight and a bunch of people. I've been through a lot of crap. I've been shot. I've had to shoot. You know, I was a former officer too. You know, and yeah, I'm just hoping that I've lived the correct life and made the decisions that were necessary. And I've never, you know, try to hurt people or pick on people, even though I'm a big old scary dude. I've never been a bully. You know what I mean? And I commend all you guys. You guys are the new generation, and I'm praying that you guys use common sense, reality, research. Don't just believe what everybody says. Look it up. If you think I said something that sounds kind of, look it up. Research it. See where I'm coming from, why I say the things I said, because I've been studying this crap for over 40 years now. You know what I mean? And I'd say the majority of the best stuff that I've learned has been in the last 10 years. You know, I keep on learning new things. That's the hardest part for a scientist, okay, or a social scientist, an exopolitics, person, or just a regular scientist in general, is we don't want to be proven wrong. We don't want to admit that what we've been holding on to for so long was wrong. You know what I mean? So you gotta swallow your pride. And if you're a true scientist and really care about our research, be ready to be wrong. Because our reality of today might be tomorrow's. Holy crap, I didn't think about that. Oh my God. And you got to be okay with saying, you know what? I was wrong. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Don't hurt me. I want to know the truth. I don't want to know what I think makes me look cool. Or I wouldn't say any of this stuff. Everybody's like, you're on TV, you're Breaking Bad, you're this. Why would you want to talk about Bigfoot and conspiracy theories? They're going to think you're crazy. I'm like, well, I don't care. I don't. I just want to know the truth. I want to know while I'm here what's really going on so I can enjoy my damn life and not do wrong. I'm thinking I'm doing right because somebody lied to us.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you.
I hope. Do you have any more any more things you want to talk about real quick, or?
Live long, prosper. No, but seriously, how about this be the first of multiple times we speak together? Put together some questions. If any of your listeners, they have questions or they disagree with something, they want to challenge me on something. Let's set up the next time. Like I said, I don't mind doing these interviews and research because to me, this is how it keeps me alive. Because what if you guys are discovering things that I don't know? I want to learn. I'd be some little crotchety old man going, I know everything, man. Darn you kids. Oh man, if we the ones that are quote unquote in control of the world of giving lectures and in that realm, we need to listen to you guys too. Fresh minds give fresh ideas, concepts. You know what I mean? So don't ever be afraid to ask a question. Don't ever feel that by asking questions, it's showing that you're not smart or not naive. No. The people that ask questions are the smart ones. That means that you can see that there's more to learn than what you know already. Because it's real easy to think we know everything, So I look forward to our next rendezvous in science and research of the unknown. You got some stuff that I hadn't said that you guys know? Learn me, man. I want to know too. Get some questions there, and I'm happy to answer them, brother. Just let me know when.
Great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
In the unknown, I'm in the unknown. In the unknown, I research the unknown. In the unknown, I'm in the unknown. In the unknown, I research the unknown. In the unknown, I'm in the unknown. In the unknown, I research the unknown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
It's an emergency broadcast streaming live into your home. The aliens have made their way inside the Superdome. We need someone to save us cause we can't do this alone. We need a scientific researcher of the unknown. My name is Carson French, researcher of the unknown. I need all of the players to evacuate the zone. The aliens are coming, they're inside the Superdome. Need someone to call the scientific research phone.
Hello? Who is this?
Carson French of the unknown. The aliens attacking people in the Super Bowl. Need you send an agent to assist me in my zone. I'm currently located inside of the unknown. I'm in the unknown. In the unknown, research the unknown. In the unknown, I'm in the unknown. In the unknown, I research the unknown. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yo, my name is Scott Martin. Yeah, because I research these facts. Yeah, I'll just now throw them out. Expose the government like that. Yeah, even the CIA. You know, I do that all day. Yeah, I follow these old documents. Cause they know what I say. Yeah, cause now I'm balling like every day. Scroll to his life every day. You know what I do? I research the unknown. That's where I gotta go. Yeah, cause I research the unknown. I research the unknown. Yeah. I research the unknown. Research the unknown. You don't know where I go. Paranormal phenomenon. By this time I'm gone. Yeah, cause I now investigate. I never late. Yeah. You know what I say? Cause I've researched the unknown. Research the unknown. Research the unknown. Cause I research the unknown. I am in the unknown. I'm in the unknown. You don't know which way we go into the unknown.
Come on, Jake.